Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B, and I don't know if you can hear the birds singing, but I decided to make my way outside and get some sun codes coming in, although there's a cloud right now, but the clouds will dissipate. So I'll go into light and then I won't, and then I'll go into light and then I won't, which is very reflective of this energetic journey that is awakening path, like, you're illuminated into light and then it's dark. And then you're into the light and then it's dark. This ride can be described as bipolar. It can be described as a roller coaster. It can be described as a path through hell to get to heaven and then back down into the depths again to expunge more. It's a something, that's for sure. It's a something. And as I'm sitting out here, I want to share with you, nothing to do with today's topic, but because I had a miracle occur of sorts. Okay, so this is my house here that I'm renting. That's right on the lake, which is right there, like 50 feet. There's lots of birds. And I'm used to seeing birds and I like birds, but today an eagle came and sat on a tree. I ran out because Arwen is getting herself just used to kind of coming out and walking around just here. She's a scaredy cat. And I'm like, get in the house, get in the house. You'd make a really good dinner for an eagle. So talk about good omens, bringing in the message that it's my time to soar. Thank you, eagle, medicine bringer. I like that. I've also been seeing a lot of hawks as I go walking. So although I am alone, very, very alone, I am not on my own. I do say that frequently. This journey has, over the last decade, made my life get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I'm like literally living in total isolation. And other than Arwen here and neighbors in the distant, I can walk that way and I can walk that way, but it's not right beside me. I used to live in housing that was like row houses, so you're right next to each door to each other. And so you feel a sense of people beside you. I literally have no people, no humans to be found. And that's a necessary component on this awakening path that I had to accept. That's been very challenging for me, as have many of the what I call initiations on this awakening path, because it became abundantly clear to me quite early on in my spiritual awakening, even before I had my Kundalini, that there were certain levels that you had to go through, and on each level there was going to be certain tests or initiations. And when I reframed it like that, through the lens of a spiritual warrior here on Earth School, the university that is human, I understood that, okay, there's going to be challenges that I need to face. And I did a video, I don't know, a year or two ago, called The 4 Initiations of a Spiritual Awakening. There's way more than 4, is what I understand now. There is way more than 4. In fact, the steps to a spiritual awakening cannot be just squished into 6 stages of the awakening path. Many teachers have many different philosophies and many different opinions. And one of them that I have been utilizing for my own kind of where am I gauge has been Christina Lopes and her 6 stages of an awakening path. I am now of the belief that there's way more. Okay, there is way more. There is the pre-awakening, and then there's subcategories within each of her phases. There was the bliss phase, and there was the dark night of the soul, and that lasts years. It certainly did for me. And within the dark night of the soul, there were many, many initiations. Even starting at the pre-awakening, there were many initiations. And so me, with my autistic power of pattern recognition, have observed that there is a commonality amongst many of us on this path with certain initiations. So many of us, for example, go through the initiation that is a healing crisis. If you are on a soul's mission to step into a power of a healer, the mission is healer, heal thyself. And so it is very common for healers or modern day shaman to go through a shaman's initiation or a healer's initiation, wherein your own body is ravaged with many conditions that you are forced to heal. So my body was a shit show. There was a stage there where I was just accumulating conditions like I was collecting hockey cards. I'd go to the doctor's office with a binder, color coordinated. Let's talk about head, mental stuff. Let's talk about the physical. Let's talk about, now, where are you going to send me for this? And I'm sure I was her most annoying patient because I wasn't willing to just sit back and suffer. I was like, no, we've got to solve certain problems. Okay, we have diabetes. What are my options? Okay, I can't sleep. What are my options in regards to the sleep apnea? So I'd arrive and then I'd have this is my top 5 issues at the present moment in time. Send me my requisitions to go to these specialists or that specialist or this test or that test. And there she'd go, typing out all the things that I wanted, except for one. I wanted ketamine treatment for my depression at the time. And she's like, no, let's try this SSRI first. Let's try this first. Before we can give you the one that works, we need to give you all the ones that don't to prove that they don't, so you can have on your file treatment-resistant depression. Like, well, that's a little bit backwards now, isn't it? It was no different than the same when I had severe endometrial issues as a woman who has a history of sexual assault and child abuse. That is sexual nature, that is common. And instead of looking at it through the lens of trauma or looking at it through a lens of we can solve this problem quickly, we have to go through a certain amount of treatments that don't work before they're going to give me the treatment that does. It was absolutely nonsensical. Here, try this birth control. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying that. Okay, you have to try this. IUD, that was the worst experience ever. Terrible. Get this thing out of there and give me my surgery. Like, I was getting cranky at this point. You could have just given me my surgery, but heaven forbid a woman has control over her own sexual body parts and her ability to make decisions on whether she wants more children or not. I certainly did not at the age of 45. So eventually I got that surgery and my pain has been gone ever since. Had they just given that to me 15 years earlier, it could have saved us all a lot of heartache. Well, a lot of heartache for me, an annoyance for them, because I wouldn't have been complaining about it 24/7. My point being, I went off on a couple tangents, as I do, is that we have these initiations, one of which is the healing crisis. And that within it has many lessons that we need to learn, as well as how to heal. The path of the wounded healer is through the wounds. There are other initiations that we share along this path. Another one, which is to escape from narcissistic abuse. Many of us on this path have been locked into a handler of sort to prevent you from standing in your power is their objective on a spiritual level. On an even higher level, they're your ultimate spar partner. Like, Batman wouldn't have become Batman if he didn't have Raoul, whatever his name was. I can't remember his name. He was like his ultimate teacher, but ultimately a bad guy. At first, he's like, oh, you're amazing. You're my master. I want to learn from you. Teach me everything you know. And then everything he learned from the master, he ended up having to use to fight against the master, right? Excuse my comic book references, but I gotta find them where I can. So oftentimes these narcissistic individuals that are trying to prevent you from standing fully in your power is exactly what you need to stand fully in your power. So within that, there's sub lessons on multiple layers of stepping into. And I'm going to get into those sub lessons in today's video. It's long getting me to the point, but I'll get there eventually. I always do. And we also have other initiations, financial, total annihilation of your finances and a total destruction of your egoic, I've got it covered, I've got all my bills, I got a nice big house, I got a boat, I got a car, I got everything that I need. Okay, so the ego needs to crumble. And if your sense of power, security, and all your solar plexus energy is interwoven with your financial success, then that needs to crumble away so that you can learn many lessons about stepping into soul and getting into soul. There's also the initiation that is the isolation initiation, which is to separate you and pull you apart from all of your codependent and enmeshed relationships so that you can learn to become a sovereign human being. That is one that takes care of their own needs, their own health, and learns to be in divine connection. But the connection that you need to be is this one, the light. And learn how to reparent yourself, become your own mother, become your own father, become your own lover, become your own friend, become your own. And then there are other initiations that I have noticed that are kind of like smaller and maybe a little bit more obscure. For example, recently, my most recent of the last month or so has been the initiation that is tech, Toyota, and taxes, which is issues in the 3D reality pummeling me one way or another to help me realize my own abilities, my own discernment, my own ability to speak up for myself. So I'm going to divide those up for just a moment. My taxes this year were a total shit show because I got a house, sold a house. I had renters, I didn't have renters. I started my own business. My business has American money, Canadian money, European money. I'm not an accountant. That's not how my brain works at all. Math, I failed it many times in high school. So I did. I was never strong in math. And then I'd have to repeat it and do it all over again. And then I moved 3 times. So I had 3 different sets of bills. So you want to talk about an initiation that is called taxes. Go through what I went through last year and then try to do it with no organization whatsoever, because your bandwidth in a spiritual awakening is brought down to survival, not organization, not color-coded file folders, but a total shambles of everything so that for me, an ego aspect of control was organization. And I was like, I got life covered because look, my clothes are color coordinated, red, orange, yellow. I can find what I'm looking for. My drawers are organized. My files are organized. My life is organized. And then an awakening happened and organization turned into a mess. Especially also that ties into the other initiation, which is the initiation of the narcissist, because narcissists love chaos and they leave a trail. I used to equate my ex to being the energy of a slug, because everywhere he went, he would leave a slime trail behind him. I'd go in the kitchen, I'd know he was there because there'd be crumbs on the counter and cutlery left out, and there'd be piles here and piles there, and chaos in the garage and chaos in the basement, and just messes everywhere. So within the lesson that is the narcissist, there's also the lesson of organization, and my ego used organization as a way to feel like I was in control. And so then this year, it's here, you need to do taxes. And I don't know where anything is. So I had to go through every single bank account, all the credit cards, go through every single shop that I shopped at that was business related, find the appropriate receipts, make a spreadsheet for this, make a spreadsheet for that, make a spreadsheet for this, make a master spreadsheet. Cuckoo. Okay. I'm going to get myself QuickBooks next year to save myself the hassle. And thank God I found a really good accountant that had spreadsheets that I could follow his instructions on. That was a crazy thing because awakenings is all about chaos. It is through the chaos that we find calm, but we only do that by going one step at a time and going, okay, this is the initiation called taxes. I can only deal with one receipt at a time. I can only deal with one thing at a time, and I'm going to slowly walk myself out of this hell, as well as all the other levels of hell that I have walked myself out of. And we move into the tech. Okay, so when we are on an awakening, we have to unfuck our physical body. That is par for the course. That's the grounding of it all. It's the root of it all. It's our body. If your body is holding on to extra weight and illness and disease, then that is a manifestation of an out of balance energetic system. And so as we're going through this awakening process or enlightenment process, it means we need to get rid of the heavy, dense energy. And next, in that process, we have to clear the emotional realm and clear out all the traumas and the emotions to enlighten us for the purification of our soul. And then we go through the mental realm of switching out of hypervigilance and learning how to be in divine time and have all these types of things going on. So we're dealing in the physical reality, we're dealing in our emotional reality, we're dealing in our mental reality, and then we're also dealing in the spiritual reality that all these gifts come online, and that in itself is its own initiation of what's it like when telepathy starts happening and you're like, oh my God, why do I know what I know? Or you've got clairsentience or claircognizance, or you've got, I'm clairsentient to the max, which means I feel your stuff. I don't just, oh, I have a tingle sensation that you have a kidney problem. I have gone to the hospital thinking I had a kidney problem because I was energetically clearing somebody else's kidney stones. I had no kidney stones. I just had all the pain that said I had a kidney stones, which only adds to another reason why my doctor thought I was like probably nuts, which I'm not. I'm clairsentient. So that's its own initiation of learning how to use these muscles of these gifts that we have long repressed and kept under wraps. Telepathy, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience. That was a hard lesson to deal with. And so there's many sub-lessons within the initiation. And then on top of it, we get into our physical reality. Okay, so those are the initiations that have to do with money, that have to do with where you're living, where you're working, with how you're showing up in the world. And that includes the virtual world. The virtual reality is another whole playing field that we need to clear. And so for the last month, I've been working on my website that I think at this stage is maybe 95% unfucked. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be more hiccups, but oh my God, it was like dating is what I was doing. I was dating this app and then I was dating this app, because how Spotify works is here's your platform, and within it you have building blocks that you put together so that you can create a booking system or a sales system or an email system. My systems weren't working for what I needed them to do. And so I have switched everything up, and I'm like, right, okay, in my virtual world, I am going through an initiation of how I show up and how I function in the world. I'm going to have to let go of the things that don't work and look for things that do, not hold on. I already learned this lesson through the thank you, the codependent, the toxic people lesson. Okay, so I can use that reference point for this, even though it's a different playing field, and say, okay, I've learned let go. when it doesn't work. I've learned that there is always something else to try. Don't stay where you are just because it's comfortable or familiar. Move on to the next. And so I literally in the last 2 weeks have gone speed dating through multiple apps for booking systems. And I finally landed on one that I think might be it. It's early days yet. So there's not going to be a marriage. There's going to be, I'm testing you. I'm still within the free window of this is your free trial, right? The same with my Google. I now got Google Workspace, which means I can hopefully get rid of Zoom because I want to divorce Zoom. I don't like Zoom. I like Google Meet. So I'm moving all of my services onto Google Meet. And so that's what's happening in my virtual reality is a replication of what has happened in my physical reality, as well as what's happened in my relational reality, what's also happened in my body's reality. So over and over and over and over and over again, we repeat certain energetic blueprints that are played out in different realms so that we can grasp certain fundamental lessons. As well, in the last month, I've been dealing with the energy of, oh God, here I go again. I need to complain about something. And I hate complaining. It's not my comfort zone. I'd much rather leave a 5-star Google review for somebody than leave a 1-star. But this is something that Spirit has been testing me and testing me and testing me, which is you need to stand up for yourself. You need to speak up for yourself. You need to recognize and use discernment when something is off, and you need to call it out. Your job is a light worker. My job is not a runawayer. My job is a light worker. So long story short, my wonderful car, Fiona, I didn't drive her summer tires. They weren't put on my car until April 10th of this year. They were put into storage when I bought the car because I live in Canada, so I was driving on winter tires. As soon as they put on my summer tires, I developed a slow leak. And then, oh my God, I had a flat tire because slow turned to fast really quick, and I was driving on a flat tire. I was panicking. I'm a new driver. I'm nervous as no get out as to begin with. I got myself to Cal Tire. I'm like, oh my God, that was harrowing. What needs to happen now? And because they literally just put the tire on. I'd driven on it for 3 hours max. Okay. And they're like, your tires are shot. And I said, what do you mean my tires are shot? This is a brand new car that I just bought. The car is not brand new. It was brand new for me. But they just did a safety in October and told me everything was safe. And they were like, I don't know why they told you that, because these tires need all replaced. It's not just the one that got a flat. Now you need to replace all of your tires. And she went out and she showed me the gauge, and I was like, I'm so confused because I just bought this car and it was safetied. So the tires had to have been like within safe realm, a safe number. And on top of it, they talked me into a warranty that clearly doesn't work for these tires. Because when I got in touch with the warranty people verified what Cal Tire had said. And so I'm like, great, now I need to deal with Toyota. Now I need to go back to Toyota and say, hey, whoa, listen, you've done me dirty here. And this isn't the first time, because when they sold me the car, they hid the fact that there was a crack in the windshield, and when it rained, I could see it. And I'm like, you filled this instead of replacing the windshield. The windshield should have been replaced. You better replace it now. And they also had an emergency thing because the back hatch went off, and for no reason whatsoever. And I'm like, you've got a mechanical issue, which also shouldn't have passed safety. And so the tires shouldn't have passed safety either. So you've got 3 reasons why it shouldn't have passed safety. You sold it to me. And on top of it, you sold me additional warranties that are useless on a car that shouldn't have passed safety. And they blew me off and they gaslit me. And I'm like, oh man, does everything have to be a spiritual lesson? Yes. Yes, it does. And I'm like, all right, Spirit, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to walk away from this? I know I'm not going to get my money back, but there's the principle. There's the ethics of this. And you gave me this autism, God, that says, hey, justice. And something isn't just here. There's a moral injustice here. There is an ethical injustice at play, as well as the fact that I've been financially shafted. That's their karma. That'll come around their own way. I'm not in charge of that business. But I am in charge of speaking up for myself and not letting a bully walk all over me. And I've had way too many bullies in my life. My mother, my ex, the landlord, the rental place, the Twin Springs. Don't ever go there. I've had bullies. And I'm like, I am not going to let Toyota bully me. I am not. I am going to make a report. That's what I do now, apparently, is I go out into the world and I make reports. Why? Because I'm a light worker and I'm going to shine a light on it and I'm going to make a report about it. I don't trust the legal system for suing, but it's something that I'm going to have to contemplate in the future, because if spirit keeps putting these situations in front of me and I'm like, what, again? Then I'm learning the lesson and understanding that there's something greater than going on than just me having a shitty situation with Toyota Canada. There's a life lesson attached to this shitty situation. What is it? Is it discernment? Is it a karmic clearing? Is it me needing to stand up for myself and speak out? What is it? So I'm always asking the question, what is it? What is it? What is the lesson? Because we have initiation after initiation after initiation after initiation after initiation. It gets exhausting. But I was very lucky, because at the beginning of my awakening, I came across a meme. It was a very weird little funky meme with spelling errors, but sometimes when I see things, and I don't know what spiritual gift this actually is, maybe it falls into the category of claircognizance, of just knowing. It's like I'll see certain things and there's a glimmer. Okay, there's a glimmer attached to it, whether it's scripture. Certain scriptures I can read and it's like I understand it in a way that I'm like, okay, I don't think that's what the meaning is that everybody else thinks it is, but I'll see it in a glimmer. Okay, and that came on weird because I was never raised with scripture. Or I'll see a meme, or I'll see a YouTube video, or I'll see a synchronicity, and there's a message in that. I can read those messages. I understand. The eagle coming today. I'm like, oh, okay, I can understand. There's something going on here. This is sending me a message. And so this meme that I saw, and I'm going to share it here, was all about the 33 steps and it's from a chiropractic philosophy. And listen, I know nothing about chiropractic lessons. I'm not a chiropractor, but I understood what this was as the steps to enlightenment. And I understood that it all aligned with the spine and how important the spine was. Because in my own awakening from the very beginning, okay, back in 2019, when all my health conditions were like at their absolute worst, I went, because I suffered severe back pain to the point where I couldn't walk upstairs properly. And I also had sharpshooting pain down my left leg. I went to a physiotherapist and she said, I need you to go and do a gait test. And so I walked and she said, you walk wrong. And I was like, excuse me, I've been walking like this for 48 years. And she said, you walk wrong. She goes, your feet are splayed open. They need to be forward. Your entire anatomy chain is out of alignment. And she said alignment. And I went, ding. Yeah, because from a spiritual point of view, we throw the word alignment around left, right, and center, but it clicked. I had never thought of alignment literally from the perspective of my spine and my bones. And if your bones and your spine are out of alignment, then your muscles are going to be out of alignment, and your fascia is going to be out of alignment, and your skin's going to be out of alignment, and your energy is going to be out of alignment, and your soul is going to be out of alignment. I saw a joke once that said, if you walk with your feet like this, your soul doesn't know which way to go. Do I go this way or do I go that way? Because you ain't pointing forward. So I was like, I need to correct my physical alignment. I need to get my spine in perfect alignment. I need to get my feet back where they belong, facing forward. So for the longest time, I was doing what I coined aligned walking. and going out and walking in perfect alignment. And my neighbors all thought I was kooky because it looks weird. And one guy finally stopped me. He's, what are you doing? And I said, I'm walking in alignment. And the more in alignment my physical body got, the weight just went, it just literally melted off of me. And with it, everything else began to get into alignment. So I've been walking for an entire year. I was like feet forward, feet forward, feet forward, feet forward. Now I've done lots of videos on aligned walking in the aligned walking playlist. Go check those out if you haven't already. And in getting myself aligned, I was also aligning my spine and saying, posture straight, suck those abdomen in. The only muscles that should be working is sucking in the abdomen, getting the shoulders back where they belong. And in doing that, I got rid of a buffalo hump that the doctors said to me was incurable. I went to an osteo and you can try rolling on a foam roller, but once you have it, you have it. Well, I don't have it anymore. I love my spine. It's nice and straight. Now I'm still working out some kinks down there in the SI area because, hello, I have a lot of trauma, and trauma is stored in the body. So all around, if you've been walking for 40 plus years with your feet like this, your entire anatomy chain is all wrong. And that means that your knees, they're pointing out this way as well, slightly, and your hips are pointing open. So which means the SI joint in the back is all squeezed up. And that's how we stand stoically, holding on to dear life. And so all the muscles in the back area, the glutes, the piriformis, the psoas, are all stretched too much or condensed, compressured too much. And so when we get ourselves back into aligning, it's pulling the SI joint open a little bit more with all those little muscles in there, finally getting some life back into them. It's re-engaging the glute muscles that have been long dead and utilize the back muscles instead for the movement. And the psoas muscle, which is the seat of the soul, has been overly stretched. So now we're getting everything back into alignment, and it's still a process. For 6 years, I've been working on this process. I still walk. If people see me now, I'm focused on walking super slow and in super alignment. Okay. It is a movement meditation. It's not about how fast I go, how far I go, nothing. No, it's about getting my body back where it needs to be, because I need my spine to be in perfect alignment. The spine is the superhighway to the divine. And when I saw that meme, I was like, it's all about the spine, baby. Interestingly, the spine has 33 vertebrae, right? Which, where do we know that number 33? Where is also associated with 33? Jesus. Jesus was 33. This is the path of Christ consciousness. And I was like, I get it. I need to go through all of this. So let's talk a little bit about what I understood when I saw that meme. Okay. So working our way up from the ground up, because that's how we need to go. We unfuck from the ground up, right? That's the processes of altering our lives. It's like we brought everything down into this reality. This is the reality that we are. Now we need to unfuck the reality, be working our way from the ground up. So starting with number 1 is awareness. Okay, what is a spiritual awakening other than a wake-up call? Becoming aware. We are aware that everything we have ever done has been asked backwards. And now we need to do a total U-turn on our life and do it the opposite. Because if your whole life you've been using alcohol as a coping mechanism, and then you have your wake-up call and you are aware, this shit ain't working for me. I'm sick, I throw up, I have hangovers, my IQ is debilitating. Wait, what? Alcohol's actually poison and a gateway to negative entities? Yeah, I don't want that. Okay, I'm going to try sobriety on for size. So you can't switch into spiritual alignment until you are aware of the problem, right? You can't know until you know. But once you know, you can't unknow. And then that unknowing, you can make decisions to say, I am now making choices based on awareness, not choices based on following the crowd or people pleasing or doing what everybody else does or doing what society tells me is perfectly okay. The very fact that alcohol is promoted at almost every social event ever, and even it's the main sponsor for sporting events and other concerts and things like that. Even I love music, so I used to go to concerts all the time, and it used to be called the Budweiser stage. Molson's, these are companies that make beer. So you're being indoctrinated over and over on participating in a system, and then you have your awakening and you're become aware and you're like, wait, what? Like what? And that awareness, that level of truth that comes in, shocks your system into making better choices. When you know better, you do better. Number 2, we have feeling. Our society has a real problem with feeling and doesn't want you to feel. I wonder why. Maybe because if we all started feeling, we'd all start healing. And then there would be a multi-billion-dollar industry that crumbles and collapses, that being the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry. Because if we start learning that we are human beings and that human beings are natural feelers, then, and that's how we transmute energy, and we start doing it without looking at it through the lens of a disorder or a psychological problem. Instead, we see it as a natural process, no different than urination or defecation. Then we're like, oh, wait a second. It's okay for me to feel? I'm allowed to feel? Huh? Anxiety is not something I should be shunned and shamed for. Grief isn't something I need to hide myself away about. Anger is something I'm allowed to do. So the lesson that is feeling is triggered by all these initiations that we have, so that we begin to start feeling again. So we start making the aware choice that I'm going to let myself feel what I feel. Toyota, I am angry. I am entitled to feel angry. I am going to communicate my anger and my dissatisfaction because I am in touch with my feelings, and my feelings are real, valid, and necessary. This awakening, we get triggered by grief, we get triggered by stressful situations, we get initiations that freak you the fuck out, we get fear prodding, one after another. So it's like, hello, are you going to start feeling again? Are you going to start feeling? But I didn't let myself feel, because I live in a society that says feeling is disordered in some manner. And so I smoked, I drank, I did pharmaceuticals, I had toxic bonded relationships, I used pot, I used sacred medicines, anything and everything, so that I wouldn't feel. And then on my awakening path, it's like, I'm going to force you into feeling, because you've been repressing that forever. And the more I felt, the healthier I got. That's the glow up. That's the glow up. That's why, and I'm going to start reverse aging now. Just you watch, because I keep on letting myself feel. Number 3, discrimination. Okay, this is necessary, and it is also something that has been shut down for many of us, because when you're raised in an environment where you need to follow authority, your own, and I've done a million videos on discernment or discrimination, wherein you need to see what's what. But when you've been raised in a gaslighting environment that is not only a family structure, but an education system, a medical system, a political system, a cultural system that says, no, you need to do things this way, then you shut down your power of discernment so that you can fit into the tribal consciousness. And so we need to pull ourselves out of the tribal consciousness by seeing, by identifying the problems within the norm. Now, Gabor Mate did an amazing book called The Myth of Normal. I highly recommend that you all go out and read that book, because if you think what is society is normal, I can guarantee after reading that book, you will understand that it is a myth. And when we waken our third eye, our powers of discernment through these initiations, you need to be able to see that your partner is an asshole. You need to be able to see that you're being screwed by a company. You need to be able to see that you don't belong in this job situation or place situation. Then what happens is you start to have faith and trust in your own power of discrimination and discernment, without gaslighting into yourself that inner voice that says, don't be so judgmental, give them the benefit of the doubt. Be judgmental, don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Use your discernment and trust and have faith in your ability to see what's right and what's true for you. Number 4, this is going to be a long video. Oh well, I like long videos. Number 4, love. For those of us that identify with the twin flame journey, that is all about getting seated with divine love in your heart. And it's not the way that I thought love was going to be. I honestly got to say, not in a million years. I thought, like most people, that love was a choice. Love is not a choice. No, love awakens in you. Divine love and awakens in you. And there is no choice. There is no choice. It is not a feeling that you control or transmute through. It is a state of being. It is a consciousness. And when you are awoke on this twin flame journey, the whole point of it is for you to learn how to love the fuck out of yourself and start discerning what is right and what is wrong for self, and get yourself into alignment with self, with soul. Get yourself into alignment with soul tribe, those that resonate with you. And thank God there's a virtual world out there that I can connect with these people. And align with God, the love of God, feel the love of God, receive the love of God, give out the love of God, show compassion and understanding to yourself and to others around you. And then eventually we will get into a place where we can have divine partnership, divine love on a personal level. But it requires a lot of isolation, purification, and time out. This is your time out. You're put into the isolation tank for your detoxification, because if you even attempt a relationship while you still have dense energy in you, you are only going to attract in more karmic life lessons that are going to be more initiations for you to learn all the other lessons. This love thing is more powerful than we can possibly even fathom. Our mind can't make heads or tails with it. Okay, our mind on the twin flame journey goes like, what is this? I don't understand. Why can't I control this? Why can't I get off of this? Why blah, blah? You know, our mind goes dulala for a very extended period of time, because it's not a functioning of the mind. It's like, it does not compute. You're running 2 different programmings. There's the love programming, which is the heart-centered consciousness, and then there's the mind-centered egoic consciousness. And so it's like a calculator trying to figure out a sewing pattern. It doesn't connect. And through this awakening process, more and more and more, you realize, I need to unplug from this motherfucker and I need to plug in here, because this one's causing nothing but chaos. Okay, it's causing so much confusion, so much doubt, so much control. And I'm going to unplug and I'm going to stay plugged into this heart center and understand the life lesson of what is love. I am on a quest to understand this. And the first person you need to learn love with is yourself. I have a self-love playlist with loads of videos on there. If you're struggling in the self-love department, come and book a one-on-one with me. We can talk about that. And because that's the starting place, you know. 5, expression. Express yourself. Isn't that Madonna from the 80s? You got to express yourself in one of her songs. Is that Vogue? I don't know. That's what I'm hearing right now. Express yourself. My singing voice is not the best, but I'm going to keep practicing and keep working on it as a spiritual lesson. So sorry to anybody's ears when I'm out of key. But we need to open our throat chakra and express ourselves. We need to be able to leave a 1-star Google review without melting and crying for 3 days. Hey, it's a process. It's a process, people. We need to be able to do a public service announcement and be able to say, hey, you might want to not go to this counselor. It might mess you up. We might need to do a report to the ministry or a report to the landlord tenants board or a report to Toyota's headquarters. You might need to do that. You might need to do a calling out to your wife, your husband, your sister, your brother, your mother, your cousin, and say, yo, that's bullshit. I'm not tolerating that. You might need to call out workplaces, all kinds of things, because on an awakening path, you are a light worker. Your job is to shine a light on something and call it out, not shine a light on it and go, oh my God, I'm triggered. I'm having trauma response here. I'm running away. Do I like it? Is it enjoyable? No, most of these lessons aren't. But that is what's going to help move us into our authenticity. Well, I'm going to be authentically me because I've learned through my power of discernment and discrimination that I'm not like everybody else. I'm not neurotypical. I'm not going to do neurotypical things. I'm going to be weird and wonderful, and I'm going to wave that around like a flag, okay? I'm going to have my own spiritual pride flag and be like, yeah, I'm wackadoodles. What do you got to say about it? I'm going to speak up on it and talk about things that may be taboo. And if you don't like it, you have your own discernment and your own power of expression to be able to say, this isn't for me. I'm going to shut this crazy lady off and stop watching her YouTube. And that's fine. I'm not here for popularity. I'm here to help people who need some help on this awakening path. Number 6 is vision. Okay, so this ties into our powers of discernment, but it goes beyond that because it's our ability to see what spirit needs us to see. This is opening that third eye wide. No more third eye blind. Third eye open, okay? Eyes wide open, and see. Our ability to see people, see situations, see future, premonitions, see visions. The only reason I'm doing my YouTube is because I had a vision. Okay, nobody said to me, I really think you should do this or do that. I would not have done any of this. I would have hid away and never had done a YouTube in my entire life because I barely used social media before because I was scared of what people might think of me. So I had a vision and I'm like, okay, I have a vision. I have a dream. And now I am like passionately motivated to fulfill that vision. Does it make any sense to my mind? No. 0 sense. Do I know how I'm going to get to make that vision possible? Nope. Do I have any support on this vision? I have one person that's helping me with my website. I do have a vision that more will come in. I have a vision. Is it going to manifest? I don't know. But if my vision is in alignment with God, damn straight it is. As Kevin Costner said in A Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. So thank you, Kevin Costner. I am building it and I am hoping they will come. You've already come, so more will come. So our powers of vision are going to be tested through all these initiations to see things as well as see not only on the 3D realm, but see on the 5D realms. See what could be. See the possibility. Now, it may not feel like a probability or a guarantee, but you can see the possibility. When you can see the possibility of something, that is where invention is born of. You see the possibility that it could be different. It should be different. And all us neurodivergent people came down here with these amazing gifts to be able to see solutions to problems that neurotypical people don't want to fix. And we're like, I see the solution. I have seen the solution. Why don't you just do X, Y, Z? And they go, that's not the way we do things. We do things like this. That's the way we've always done things. Nah. And we're like, well, that's dumb and inefficient and doesn't make any logical sense. So our ability to have visions won't make us necessarily popular. But it will be the bringing of the new age. We are here to bring in the age of Aquarius and let go of the age of Pisces. So the way we've always done things isn't the way we're going to do things in the future. So just because you've had 50 odd years like myself, or however many, of standing up and speaking out and saying, if you just did this, it would be, you'd save yourself $1,000, you'd save yourself 1 hour of process, you'd save yourself. Keep talking, keep seeing, keep being annoying, keep ruffling feathers, keep being a light worker. That is the job. It's a job. God is your boss. The spirit is your workplace. And so it doesn't look like the structure of a neurotypical 2,000-year-old age of Piscean system of a patriarchal bullshit, right? And we're watching patriarchy completely collapse because all us women have stepped up and said, wait a second, I have a vision that I don't belong in this bullshit. I'm out. Right? So the system is beginning to collapse, and even men now are starting to go, wait a second, what? This patriarchal system fucked me too? Wait, you mean I don't get benefits because I'm a man? This patriarchy is about repressing me as much as it is repressing them, and it has me so focused on man versus woman that I'm not even seeing that it's human versus the controlling class? Oh, crap. Fuck. I just hit a choice point where I just realized everything in my life needs to turn around and do a U-turn and go completely the opposite direction. Woohoo! 7. 7 is divinity, okay? And that is learning to surrender. And all these initiations come in one after another, to help us learn to surrender. We got to surrender everything on this and give it to God and let God move us where we're supposed to be. My egoic self was like, I'm going to stay in my house. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it work. I wasn't meant for that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not worth very much. I'm going to move myself to this Twin Springs cottages, trailer park from the back of beyond, and I'm going to live in this micro house. Now, it was a cool experience. The micro house itself has some good things to say, some not so good things to say. I think it would be fine for the summer, not so good for a winter. But Spirit was like, you're not in alignment with Spirit. You don't belong here. This isn't where you're supposed to be. And so, boom, I get hit by a freaking bobcat machine. When you want to get hit by the hand of God, that's the way to do it. And I get physically moved. And I get physically moved again until I'm in this divine place. You can't see it right here, but right there is a gorgeous lake that I get to wake up to sunrises coming in with all these windows. And I'm like, I couldn't have dreamed this up at all. All my visions, this is way better than that. So sometimes we need to trust that although we have good visions, ultimately at the end of the day, the vision is God's vision, is the divine's vision, the creator's vision, source's vision, spirit's vision. I don't care what name or linguistics you want to associate with it, the Tao, okay? So divinity is about surrendering our own personal and understanding that I am just a cog in some bigger system. And when I get in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing, then divine works through me, expresses through me, creates through me. I am not just a creator. I am a co-creator. So that is a humbling of many of us who are on a spiritual path. And you're like, I'm all powerful. I'm a god. I'm a goddess. And yeah, you are. But you are not the god, the goddess, you are not one single solitary. You are one of the whole. You are part of the whole. You are a drop in the ocean that is everything. And so when we understand and we get humbled and stand in our divinity and say, okay, use me. Use me as your hand. Use me as your mouthpiece. Use me as your eyes. Use me as your ears. Use me and put me into alignment with service. It's not going to look like a hierarchical system. It's going to look like a divine system, which is circular, which means I do something good in the world and I put out and something comes back. It doesn't come out direct. It's not a line. It's not I do something good for you and you therefore need to do something good for me. It's I do something good for the world and somehow spirit does something good for me, right? So this came out of nowhere. I couldn't have dreamed this up. It was a miracle. It is a miracle. I am grateful for it every single day because I say thank you. Keep doing it. Whatever's meant for me, keep doing it. Can I see it? No, not necessarily. Although I have some visions, I only get to see 1/100th of the plan. Everything else is above my pay grade. It is the divines. So I don't get to see what's happening tomorrow, next week, next year. Do I get certain little images? Yep. And I'm grateful for those. But I never got an email sent to me with a syllabus that outlines when this is going to happen and when my divine partnership is going to arrive and when my business is going to soar. And I don't get those other than the ego coming in and saying, it's my time to soar. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. 8, we have time. Okay. If ever there's been a harder lesson for me, it has been getting into alignment with divine time. Okay. And I joke all of the time that divine time is slower than island time. Anybody who's ever lived on an island or visited an island understands that island time is slower than the New York minute. I was raised in a big city, so I was raised in Toronto time. Toronto time is like New York time. It's a hustle. You're on a hustle is your time clock. And then you go to the islands, and I lived in Ireland for 10 years, and it's slow down. If you go, I've never been to Jamaica. I'd love to go to Jamaica, but you're in Jamaica time. You know, like everything slows down. And then there is divine time, which is slow. It's slower than the second coming of Christ. But seriously, people, we are an impatient species. We want everything now. We want instant gratification now. We want 60-second clips, not 59-minute videos. So anybody who's still watching, you're my heroes, because you understand the power of long-term gratification. And when we get into alignment with divine time, it means we become emotionally regulated. We're no longer stuck between anxiously being in the hypervigilance, thinking about the future and, oh my God, what's going to happen? I got to try to control it. And we're out of being stuck in the past of time of this happened to me, this happened to this, depression, right? So being in alignment with divine time, it is collapsing anxiety and depression into presence. So learning patience, learning presence, learning to be in the now has been a very long, arduous journey with many initiations smacking me over the head going, this isn't your time. Your time isn't now. You're early. If you get early to a bus stop, okay, that's not going to speed up the bus. If the bus is meant to arrive at 4:15 and you're there at 3:58, you got to wait. Okay, so there's a lot of waiting on this awakening process because the bus will arrive when divine says it will. You just learned, get in alignment with the divine. That means divine time too. 9. Our soul, getting into alignment with our soul's expression. Our soul speaks to us all the time, okay? Through synchronicities, through impulses, through insights. I don't need to tell you. I can have a one-on-one with you, and I can intuitively connect into your soul level, and I'll be like, ah, and I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know. That's why it resonates with you. But the problem is, for a lot of us, is we know something. We know this relationship isn't working for us. We know this job situation isn't working for us, or bad behavior or habit or addiction. Yet we don't follow the impulse, okay? We ego override. We ego override what we know to be the truth. And we say, yeah, well, this person doesn't align exactly as I thought it was going to look. And so, no, I'm not going to, yeah, good luck with that is what I have to say, because your soul is going to keep nudging you and nudging you and nudging you to get into alignment with soul. So I have found, and I love my soul for this, my soul has given me very clear, concrete instructions. I did a video long time ago about the difference between soul and ego and how it sounds. And soul is sharp, to the point, and direct. Stop dyeing your hair, soul said. And my ego said, but I like dyeing my hair. I like having pink. I like being blonde. I like being all these different colors. And soul said to me outright, if you keep dyeing your hair, bleaching your hair is going to fall out. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want my hair to fall out. So I stopped. 2022, I stopped dyeing my hair, and I allowed my God highlights to come in. And as I did, I started getting all this regrowth, new hair coming in, and spirit exactly showing me, like, look, when you do as you say, you get good things. So getting into alignment with soul usually means doing the opposite thing that you've always done, because what you've always done is what has been in alignment with ego. And so that's why I've said many times, it's like doing a U-turn and doing the polar opposite and letting your hair grow out naturally so that it can grow back. And I love my little regrowth. I've got about 2.5 inches of regrowth that's coming in. It's a little sprayed down. But anyways, we need to get into alignment with soul. So when you get those sharp, direct, to the point messages, impulses, follow them. I want a divorce. I want to quit. That's what it sounds like. What ego sounds like is, well, this job has a really good benefits package and you should stay because of XYZ, and the X component rate of this times the multiplier of that, and these blah, 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 blah. That's what ego sounds like. So if there's laundry lists of excuses, that's what ego sounds like. And if it's like, I just want this, that's what soul sounds like. Soul's like, just do it. Right? Maybe the soul's got their motivation from Nike. Just do it. That is the motivation from soul. Number 10, groundedness. Oh my God. If you don't get grounded on this awakening path, you are in for a ride. And it's not fun. And I don't like roller coasters, never have. But you need to be grounded. Otherwise, as going through dark night of the soul, you really run the risk of going into spiritual crisis. Now, I was in spiritual crisis. I don't recommend it. It's very, very scary. But I suppose for me, that spiritual crisis as an initiation was necessary to expunge out of my system the terror that lived within. The terror. And so I processed through those emotions that I now allow myself to have. I felt the terror that was coming and locked in my body from when I was 2 years of age, and being uprooted out of my familial situation, my mother, my maternal mother, my biological mother, and being moved into a brand new family. Repotted somewhere else. So my roots never got a chance to grow properly because I was uprooted and I was uprooted and I was uprooted. And then finally at 2.5, I was put into a pot, and then I got, like, what's it called when you're in a pot and the roots have no place to grow? So my pot in my narcissistic household was too tiny. And so my roots became all mangled. And so it's only in the last, I don't know, few years, few months, that I've been allowed to be in a pot, a bigger pot, a beautiful, glorious, not just a plot, I'm on farmland, where my roots can begin to grow and expand and go out, which is meaning in the last 3 months, my nervous system is calming. My fear is minimizing. My feeling of paranoia and what's going to happen next, hypervigilance, is beginning to calm the fuck down. I've still got a ways to go, but it's a process because we need to be grounded at a good location so you're not potted in a teeny tiny little pot or your roots aren't left dry and debilitated. You need to be able to ground yourself. And I have a grounding playlist and grounding practices every single day. Grounding. Number 11, transmutation. Transmutation is very much connected to those feelings. If we don't allow ourselves to feel and we haven't learned the lesson that is feeling, that it's safe to feel, then we cannot transmute energy. For us to manifest in the reality that we want, it means we need to manifest out the reality that we don't want, right? It's like an air purification system or a dehumidifier. When the dehumidifier takes the moist, dense air and it turns it into water, crying out the tears, and then we dump those out. So to learn the skill that is transmutation, we need to clear out all the dense energy that is in so that we become an aligned conduit to pull in so that we can transmute in the good stuff. This kind of stuff, a good location, healthy, toxic relationships, job opportunities, good stuff. We need to be able to clear the out. And so the lesson that is in transmutation means first mastering your emotions, reparenting yourself through that, reprogramming yourself, and grounding a whole new reality. So all of these things intertwine with each other, just like your spine connects this to one to that one. They all need to work together as a team for there to be number 12, connection. Okay, so everything is interconnected. Even when we're not connected, energetically, we are all connected. As I said, we are but a drop in an entire ocean. Does that mean we're any better or any less than any other drop in the ocean? No, we are not. That's where we get checked multiple times with humbleness and learning that lesson, because we are all interconnected. And so all the experiences that come in are for our highest and greatest good to teach us any number of lessons. Maybe it's to teach us the lesson of expression. Maybe it's to teach us the lesson of letting go. Maybe it's to teach us the lesson of kindness, what kindness even feels like. Gratitude. There's many reasons. So we cannot completely exist in a bubble, even though we are put in isolation tanks. Okay. And that feeling of oneness with all, first, you have to go through the path of feeling nothingness with no one, right? To collapse and transmute a lot of duality, which is up on this list somewhere else, you need to go into the opposing energy, but I'll get there. Talking about opposing energies, we've got next yin, feminine energy. We are all comprised of feminine and masculine. So 13 and 14 is yin and 14 is yang energies, are masculine and feminine energies. There will be times on your awakening path that you need to be in your feminine energy. And we have a repressed feminine energy because of the patriarchy. Thanks, patriarchy. So that means that maybe you're going to develop a sickness and you're going to be bedridden for an extended period of time because your soul needs to learn the lesson of prioritizing rest and feminine energies. And you're not going to like it because your comfort zone perhaps has been to try to keep up within a patriarchal system, which means is to have your masculine action-oriented energy going. And that's going to be like brought down to size so the feminine can take over and say, listen, you've got cancer. If you don't rest and take care of your body, you're going to die. And so we're like, oh my God, I need to do things differently than I've always done things. And this imbalance in this patriarchal system between masculine and feminine energies needs to be neutralized and brought back into harmony. And so to bring the world as large into harmony, it means bringing our own personal bodies into harmony, balancing our masculine and feminine within ourselves, balance. And it's being on a teeter-totter. So it is. And there were periods of time in my awakening that I was like totally in feminine energy. I'm like, I couldn't get out of bed, and I need to rest, and I need to meditate, and I need softness, and I need gentle, and I need nurturance, and I need love. And then there were times in my awakening that I had to be in my spiritual warrior masculine energy of defending myself and protecting myself and standing up for myself and making moves and making actions. And so there were times. And then now where I'm at is this kind of neutral place. Honestly, I don't know if I really resonate with the term feminine, female. I don't really resonate with male. I kind of am androgynous a little bit, but I don't really resonate with non-binary either. In fact, I just don't resonate with labels, is what my problem is, or not a problem. Because I understand the necessity to have feminine and masculine balanced within me so that I can bring to the world a balanced masculine and feminine energy outside of me. So I am helping transmute, and all of us are, who are on this awakening path, I am helping to transmute the collapse of the patriarchal system and bring forth a balanced system into the new age by balancing that within me. That's where the lesson is. Number 15 is polarities. So masculine and feminine is a polarity, but everything is a polarity. This world that we live in is a polarized world. And along my awakening path, I've had to collapse duality over and over and over again. And you will get insight and visions and see where you're out of balance in something. Maybe you talk too much and then you need to take a break from social media. And I'm like, but I like it. Or the opposite, vice versa. Maybe you don't talk enough and you need to start speaking out. Maybe you have no boundaries and you need to learn boundaries. Or maybe your boundaries are like the size of the ice wall on the Game of Thrones and you need to maybe build a door and to let other people's come in so you can experience some of that connection. So it doesn't matter. All along the spine, what comes out from the spine are ribs on both sides, okay? And that is an external physical representation of what polarity means. You've got a right side, a left side. You've got a, I think this is right and I think this is wrong. You've got a, I do this too much and I don't do that enough. And so on this awakening path, all these initiations come in as a test to help you collapse duality. And as I said a minute ago, the best way to collapse duality is to go into the opposite polarity, right? I don't know if anybody's ever played with those Chinese finger torture puzzles where you stick your fingers in and if you try to pull them out, it gets really tight around your fingers and then you're trapped. And so you have to do the opposite thing to get out, right? Your impulse in your mind says pull. And you have to do the opposite polarity to actually get out, which is to push, and then the thing squishes up and you can get your fingers out easily. And so if you've always communicated too much to people, they're like, I'm drowning in your words. You need to learn what it is to be silent. I did a period of time where I was practicing silence as a spiritual practice and I wasn't speaking to any humans at all. Shut my phone down. No human connection. And sit with myself, sit with my own self. If you have, so you have to do the opposite. Doesn't mean you have to stay there forever, but you go into the opposite polarity to collapse this polarity. And then you can find balance somewhere in the middle. As well as learning polarity, we also have to learn the lesson that is similarities. Where do things actually resonate and fit? And you do that too, and this feels good. Because if we only recognize polarity in the world, but we don't recognize similarity in the world, then we don't find our connection, our common ground, our place of building as a unified force. So we need to similarly see where we resonate here and there. 17 comes about, no doubt, after we've mastered 13, 14, 15, and 16, which is harmony, is having a balance of these two energies. And then we can be in a state of harmony. I know when it's needed, I can be action oriented and protect myself. I also know when it's needed, I can rest and relax and take care of myself. And I don't feel guilt, shame, or any type of feeling about being in either of those energies. I use them as they are needed, and therefore I am in harmony. I am in harmony with that. Does it look like a perfect 12 hours of this and then 12 hours of that. No, it doesn't. Harmony is cyclical, which means there are cycles within the hour, within the week, within the month, within the year. There's cycles. And at different times, you're going to have a push to be in masculine, a push to be in feminine, or a more pull to be in feminine is more appropriate. And that's going to bring overall a general feeling of harmony, of working with the world. And that's another thing. This patriarchy has robbed us of being in natural cycles, nature cycles, Mother Earth cycles. We are at war with Earth itself. And so to create a greater harmony with the natural world, we create a harmony within us, and then we respect the harmony around us. We respect the cycles, that is the moon cycles and the month cycles and the year cycles and the seasonal cycles. And there are and the astrological cycles. We get into harmony with the divine, because the divine is cyclical. The divine is not hierarchical. Number 18, my favorite, freedom. Woo! Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Absolutely. You have to lose a lot of your attachments to find freedom. Buddha talks a lot about suffering, and when you go deep into Buddhism and understanding the root of suffering, the root of all suffering is attachments. What are you attached to? People, places, things, thoughts, behaviors, attitudes. All of these things are keeping you. Hot air balloon has all those ropes that is grounded you in. You want to soar? You need to clip all the things that you're attached to. Are you attached to smoking? I was, loved it, had to clip that cord. Are you attached to marriage, to relationship? Got to clip that. You attached to physical things? Yeah, clear those. Clear, 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 clear. And then what happens is you are free. And then you can be like that hot air balloon and go further and further up into the heavens. Enlighten yourself, because there's no more cords. So freedom, I highly recommend Steve Noble's YouTube channel for cord cutting, because he's got so many different types of things, and you can cut cords on everything. Cut cords on stuff, jobs, people, places, everything, right? Keep cutting the cords energetically so that you can free yourself and fly high. Fly high. I love freedom. Freedom is my quest, has been my soul's quest this entire awakening journey. That's so much so that I called myself Freedom. Be freedom. 19, Kundalini. Okay? So I'm going to talk about Kundalini because my Kundalini didn't happen until 2021. My awakening had already begun. In fact, I had had many awakenings along my path. I had an awakening around 1819. I had an awakening around the year 2000, 2001. I had an awakening around 2015. I had an awakening around 2019. And so it's like new levels of awareness bringing me up. And then 2021, boom, boom, got hit with Kundalini. Was I looking for Kundalini? I was not. I was not looking for it anywhere. But this is the joy that is the twin flame journey. And for those of you that are on the twin flame journey, you will understand that a true soul counterpart activates your Kundalini. That's their job. Okay, so they come in and they unlock certain areas. They unlock your root chakra. Wow. You get all, oh, who is this person? So tingly. They unlock all your chakras, and in that they unlock the power of Kundalini. So Kundalini becomes free to begin doing its own job. And then when you have a Kundalini, you are dealing with an awakening on speed, or steroids, as I call it, because the amount of transformation that I have gone through since 2021 is insane. It's insane. I don't look the same, talk the same, dress the same, live the same, hang out the same. I do zero things the same. The only thing that's the same in my life is my cat. So Kundalini is the most intense awakening you could possibly fathom. Do I recommend it? No. Do I recommend it? Yes. Both is true. I collapsed polarity, and I'm non-dual in my thinking about Kundalini. It is both the best thing and the worst thing that can happen to you. It is the most transformative as well as the most brutal process out there. Is it necessary? 100%. Do I wish it could have been different? Oh, yeah. It does feel like going into that machine in the movie The Fly and then coming out distorted. But that distortion, although your ego doesn't like it, the distortion is the enlightenment process. It's helping from the inside out clear out all the density. It's moving its way through you to purify you, So I am grateful for it, but did I enjoy the physical symptoms, the aches, the pains, the sleepless nights, sleep? Don't even get me started on sleep. I long ago surrendered to the divine. I don't believe in a sleep schedule. I sleep when spirit says sleep. And if that means through the day, if that means at night, if it means no sleep for a 24-hour period, I'm like, okay, whatever. Spirit wants me awake for a reason. I'm going to be awake and I'll use my time this way. So you surrender to spirit, you surrender to Kundalini as well. And you surrender to the physical aches and pains that come. That doesn't mean just tolerating it and not doing what you can do to help yourself. If you have the symptom that is nausea, a lot of people have been complaining about nausea, then have a ginger tea. Still do the things that you can do in a natural way to help facilitate the clearing, the transmutation of this energy. Work alongside of Kundalini. Co-create with Kundalini. Surrender doesn't mean I'm going to just lie here and let Kundalini do all the work and then hope my life all manifests. I still have to have some masculine energies being action-oriented. I still need to have some feminine energies, making myself a cup of tea and nurturing myself. So it's working in collaboration with Kundalini. If you have questions about Kundalini or you're going through Kundalini, I do highly recommend Craig Holiday's videos. He's my personal favorite, but you're going to have to find what resonates with you, what is more similar vibe for you. Or if you want to book with me about some of the specifics of the symptoms that you're experiencing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because I come from the perspective of the medicine wheel teachings, is my angle in it, then feel free to book a one-on-one with me. Number 20 is mastery. Okay. We have to become our own masters on this process. And that means that we need to master and understand that we are a sovereign being. Yes, I said we're one with the all, but within our oneness, we have sovereignty, which means we do not need to be reliant or dependent on anything outside of ourselves. We do not need that crystal. We do not need the sage. We do not need the incantation, but all of those things are useful tools that we can use. But mastery says I can just be me and I can create my own shielding, my own clearing, my own power. I don't need this ashwagandha mushroom tea to relax and soothe my system. I can breathe. I can comfort myself. I can do. So mastery is, I'm going to take a sip of this. Yum. Mastery is part of the mission of learning to become a self-contained unit of light. And those initiations that we have, especially that one with our narcissistic peoples, are helping train us, like walking onto a dojo and being like, mastery, okay? We are learning to protect ourselves, shield ourselves, love ourselves, care for ourselves, and becoming a self-contained bundle of love. Number 21, abundance. Bring it, baby. Okay, you notice abundance wasn't number 1 on the list? That's where the the teachings that is the secret lost a lot of people is they put abundance on the top of the list instead of putting it on 21st on the list, instead of understanding that you needed to go through all of these things before you could get through and have a certain degree of mastery over your body, mastery over your emotions, mastery over your mind, mastery over your spirit. You needed to have a certain amount of these things before you could co-create with the divine, not on your own, but with your divine, not from ego, but with your soul, and start manifesting in or transmuting into the world into abundance and get out of poverty consciousness. I don't have enough. I'm not going to have enough. I need to hoard. The world's going to blow up. I better build a bunker with all kinds of food. Because all of that is poverty consciousness that says there isn't enough. I need to strive for more. I need to prove to the world I'm worthy because I have a bigger bank balance or a bigger car or a bigger pickup truck. Those all scream poverty consciousness. It becomes an energy that is, I need more. Okay, I need abundance to prove my worth, to prove my value into the world. And when you have value, you don't need that. So you no longer become one of these assholes that's sitting up at the 1% that's hoarding absolutely everything for themselves, thinking I'm the most abundant person of the world. Meanwhile, millions of people are suffering because of them. That's not good karma. That's not abundance. Okay, it looks physically like the manifestation of money and things like that, but that's not true abundance. True abundance is being in harmony. Harmony, peace inside, harmony. As well, poverty consciousness on the opposite side says, I'm nothing. I have nothing. I am no one. I'm worthless. I'm trash. That was where I used to sit all the time. I don't deserve much. I'll just take what I get. I'll just accept whatever comes my way because, I've got this like waif consciousness of the beggar. Like, oh, please, I'll just settle for anything. And so in settling for anything, I got an evil sociopath. No, we need to collapse that duality as well to find harmony so that abundance becomes an abundance of health, abundance of wealth, an abundance of joy, an abundant life, of harmonious coexistence and co-creating in the world. So at 22 is clarity. Clarity comes when we're no longer seeing things in, clarity is self-explanatory, really, because things become clear. You understand in a new level, a new way. What is foggy and I don't know and confusion dissipates. And then we see clearly what is meant for us. We see clearly what is meant for the world. Our visions become clear. And clarity is something that is only granted through the practice of confusion. There is the duality in that as well, is we need to experience confusion for us to understand the value of clarity. It's nice. It's nice when you have those aha days, because in a spiritual awakening, there's so many days that are like down and dreary and confusing and foggy and being stuck in the muck. But you need to go into the muck to unfuck so that everything can be clear again. I like to even think of clarity as our clarity of our emotional center, where I've often compared it to be like a stinky, full of gunk swimming pool. And so the more you clear out the rubbish, the dead floating rats, the leaves, everything, you're left with a clear, beautiful pool. So the more we process through and transmute through our yucky, gunky emotions, our traumas and everything else, it leaves us more clear, more able to hold light. Even our eyes become more clear. If you see my eyes in photographs of me in 2018, they're like these foggy mess. But the more healing work that I've done, my eyes are clear. You can see in people clarity, and you can see in people like foggy, the eyes. So yes, clear, and clear some more. 23, knowledge. With clarity comes knowledge. And we need knowledge. We need to learn. We can't just take everything for advantage for what we see. There needs to be a learning process, and many people on a spiritual awakening, that knowledge driven place comes near the beginning of the awakening. Wait, what? I don't have to live the way that I've always lived. There's other things that I can do. And like, you go through a phase of just eating up spiritual texts. You might get drawn to read Buddhism or Catholicism or Christianity or Tao. Right now in our Spiritual Warriors support group Zoom meetings on Friday, we are reading the Tao Te Ching, and every meeting starts with a small reading from the Tao, and then we apply that to our discussion. Okay, so there is always more knowledge that we can be seeking and growing. We are going through a spiritual evolution, and in that, we need to get more knowledge, open ourselves to not always accepting everything that we've been told as like truth. Many of the things we've been told are in actuality lies. Many of the things we tell ourselves are actually lies. So we need to see things with clarity. And then we need to develop new knowledge through lessons and experiences, even when those experiences come in the form of initiations and are brutal. Because we get wiser with each experience. We understand ourselves with each experience. I now know what I have the capacity to do. And each time something else comes in, I know more of myself, and I know more. I have more experience, which is why people come to me asking me for help. And it doesn't mean just help on a spiritual level. Yesterday, somebody literally said to me, since you've just been through the process of building this website, can you help me build mine? And I said, yes, I can. I can give you my knowledge. I will share my knowledge with you. I'm not an expert. I'm not a pro, but I have more knowledge than you have. And so I'm going to share that knowledge and give somebody out, because that's what being in alignment with the divine means. Being in service with the divine means you don't just do things for people because they pay you. You do things for people because they showed up with a need. And when somebody shows up with a need, you help them out because you have the knowledge to be able to do that freely. The 24 is creation. Well, I'm creating a whole new reality for myself. At it, I am co-creating a whole new reality for myself. And so the more in alignment we are, the more we clear out our emotional center, that swimming pool that's holding all of our emotions. And I have a sacral chakra playlist. Go watch that if that's what you're working with. I also have an emotions playlist. The more we clear that out, the more we have the capacity for creation. This is our creation space. This is our womb space. Now, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you have the capacity, because we both have feminine and masculine energies within us, to create the reality that you want. So The Secret was right on many of its aspects. The law of attraction is a real thing. But if your swimming pool, your creative zone, okay, here is all full of gunk and muck and floating rats, what are you going to create? What are you going to create? That's uninviting. That's not clear. Right? You need to clear that out, and then you can create from a place of clarity and knowledge. 25, manifestation. And that's when we get into the actual bringing into our 3D reality what it is that we want to experience. So first we heal our physical reality, then we heal our emotional reality, then we heal our mental reality, and then we heal our spiritual reality, and then we heal our virtual reality, and then we heal our 3D reality, and then we have a blank slate. We have a blank slate to manifest in better. Do you see the process? See why there was many steps missing before the law of attraction? There's many other laws of the universe. So there's the law of duality. There's the law of correspondence. So there's other laws that we need to master before we can master the manifestation. And as I mentioned in a video I did recently, your power of manifestation is going to go offline. No different than when your phone is upgrading. You can't use your phone when it's in one of those updates. And so that's what's happening when you're going through dark night of the soul and the void. Can you imagine? Oh my God, it would be utter chaos and anarchy if people still had the power of manifestation in their dark night of the soul. They'd be manifesting in aliens and dinosaurs and all kinds of crazy, okay? Your manifestation powers. So if you're like, I used to be able to manifest, I manifested in my bliss phase, I manifested all kinds of shit. It was great. I manifested in a role in a movie. Was it a good one? No, but it was a movie. Living out some childhood fantasy. I manifested it in a spot doing stand-up comedy. That was awesome. Was it the best thing ever? No, but it was at that level of consciousness that I was at. And at that level of consciousness, it was damn good. It was damn good. At this level of consciousness, now that I've spent an additional 4 years purging, healing, clearing, my powers of manifestation are only going to get better. Hello. Yeah. I needed a place. I kept saying, I need water. I left it to God, and God, hello, 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 hello. Yeah, so if you want to manifest your better reality, you need to go through all of these initiations and go through the hell, like Winston Churchill said, when in hell, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. It will get better. It will get better. It will get worse. And then it'll get better, and it'll get worse, and then it'll get better, and then it'll get worse. And each time we go down, we clear out more, and each time new comes in, it is better. It is better. Okay? So I know better is coming. I just don't know what it is. I don't. I leave myself open. I set an intention, and I then let God fill in the blanks. So recently, yesterday, I bought myself 2 tickets to go to the Boomy Festival. I haven't been to a music festival since, I don't know, 7 years ago, something like that. And the Boomy Festival is a big spiritual community festival with spiritual music and yoga and meditation. It's a 5-day festival in north of Toronto. And I live not so far enough that like an hour's drive. And I got myself a 1-day ticket. Now, I know I'm not capable of doing 5 days. I'd go nuts, because I've been in total isolation as a hermit. But I'm like, one day, listening to spiritual music, surrounded by similar type of people resonating with me. I want this. Now, do I know who I'm going to go with? No, because I have no people in my life in the 3D world. Okay. Virtually, yes, but 3D world, no. I don't know that. Do I know the details? Anything else? No, I said to Spirit, right, I'm buying 2 tickets. And I'm going to leave it the rest up to you, okay? Who I'm going with and how it's going to play out and this and that. But I really want to go. But if it falls apart, I'll accept it because I'm kind of used to it. But I don't think it will, because I'm manifesting in a whole new reality. So I'm like, this is going to be fun. So now it's like a mystery. There's an added component to the manifestation, which is mystery. It's setting an intention, water, cabin. I didn't specify anything else. I didn't get too into detail. I specified what I wanted. And I was like, you get me my best and greatest. Get me my best and greatest. And then Spirit provided. Spirit provided what I needed when I needed it. Exactly when I needed it, through total divine orchestration. So, Spirit, you're hearing it here first. Spirit, I would like to go with my highest and greatest person to this event. Bring it on. Who is it? Mystery. Highest and greatest. Yes, manifest in new reality. I like it. Number 26, alignment. Align physically, align emotionally, align mentally, align spiritually, align it all. Align it all. Don't take anything for granted. If you're out of alignment with something, then every other layer is out of alignment. It all works in harmony, in unison. So if physically you're walking around like this, hunched over, always on your phone, then you're out of alignment emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. If you're in alignment, you're going to be in alignment with everything, on every layer, on every realm. So right now I'm getting my virtual world, my 3D world, virtual world, in alignment with my soul. And the mission continues. It's a continual process of realigning. Situations come in and knock us off course, and we get knocked here, knocked there, and then we need to realign again and realign again. I love that song by Chumbawamba. It's one of my favorite songs for this awakening journey. I get knocked down, I get up again. I get knocked down, I get up again. Right? Go put that song on your Spiritual Warriors playlist and give yourself some music to motivate you. At this stage, I have 6 or 7 awakening playlists on Spotify, the You Movement on Spotify, lots of awakening playlists that I made on there, some to motivate me, some in my bliss phase when I was all loved up and feeling the vibe, some in my night of the soul, some in my the void period of just soothing, some for my inner child, some for, like I've used music as a means to be my muse to help get me through and align back with spirit. 27, peace, but not just anything. Peace in, baby, peace in. I always laugh when people get all angry and aggressive and shouting peace. That's not how peace happens. Peace happens by creating peace within. You want to see peace in the world? You want less war in the world? Then sit down and meditate. Don't get involved with shouting at people. You'll never get peace that way. You need to create peace within. I think of peace as like a big sheet of bubble wrap, right? So we are everything. We've learned we're unity consciousness. We're all connected. So we're all this bubble wrap. And within the bubble wrap, there's individual bubbles. So we're sovereign beings within the bubble wrap. Each of us has our own little bubble. Now, if I'm jumping up and down in my bubble, what's going to happen to the bubble wrap is cause waves out, and the people near me are going to feel those reverberations and be uncomfortable. But if I sit down and create peace in my bubble, then the people around me who may all be jumping, maybe everyone's jumping in their bubble around me and I'm the only one sitting, and so they'll move me so I can find peace in the chaos of being moved. And then they're going to realize what they're doing isn't working because I'm still in peace. And they're going to get tired and they're going to go, oh, look what she's doing. Maybe I can sit down too. Right? So you can't shout and scream like the world needs to be a peaceful place. Ah! Then be peaceful. Be what you want to see in the world. Thank you, Gandhi. That's good knowledge to know. Be what you want to see in the world. And if you want to see peace, then be peace. Is it easy? No. No, it's not easy to feel peace in the middle of chaos, but that's the mission. You sit in your bubble wrap and you isolate yourself and you're like, okay, there's lots of crazy going on. I'm in a legal battle. Maybe that's an initiation too for many of us, right? I'm going through financial stress. I'm going through this divorce. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. I'm going to try to find as much peace as I can, even if I don't feel peace, even if it doesn't feel peaceful. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to set the intention for that. I'm not going to create more disharmony by creating more disharmony in me. I'm going to soothe my nervous system. I'm going to reparent myself through the chaos and the waves. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to help create peace in. Because when we do all of this, we get to level 20, which is all about wisdom, right? Wisdom, true wisdom, is not just knowledge. Our brains are split in two. Talk about duality. Our brains are split in two. We got a masculine and a feminine side of our brain, right? And so within our brain, our masculine side is our knowledge, our problem solver. I can fix this. That's why men are always like, the joke is they're the fixers. Okay, when they're in the masculine energy and you say, I got a problem, they go, I can fix that. And I'm like, you're speaking my love language. And the feminine goes, I see the problem. So the feminine says, I see, I intuit, I know. And the masculine says, I know how to fix that. I know how to make greater peace for you. I know how to build your shelving unit that you need. I know how to fix this plumbing problem. And then the feminine goes, oh, that's awesome. This meeting place of working together, collaborating together. So wisdom is the coming together of masculine and feminine energies, of utilizing knowledge and intuition into one, and then you are wise. You are wise. Okay, so let's all be wise. And just because you've learned something, if it intuitively is going against, there's a little mini war inside of yourself. The doctor keeps telling me to eat these foods, but I keep having problems. Maybe something's wrong, right? My intuition is telling me that this nightshade vegetables don't actually work for me, but she keeps telling me to eat tomatoes, right? Got to listen and use both. Oh, okay, there's different diets I could potentially eat that might take away these symptoms for me, even though when I went to a diabetes clinic, I was like shocked. My intuition was screaming, I'm not going to eat Diet Coke. That's got aspartame. You're insane. I don't care that you have an education, because clearly if you're telling people to eat aspartame, you need a better education. So wisdom was saying, you know some stuff, but you don't know all stuff. And my intuition tells me you're wrong about some stuff. So wisdom is being able to know the difference. So next up, we have enjoyment. What the fuck is that? I posted yesterday when I bought these tickets, a little joke that I think what the WTF stands for, where's the fun? There's not a lot of fun on a spiritual awakening, on a Kundalini, on a twin flame journey. No, but I am determined to bring fun back into my life. Why? Because fun is a high vibration. Fun is a very high vibration. And I want to know what it is to have fun sober. I want to know what it is to have fun in company of people I'm resonant with, similar people, similar vibe. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy myself a ticket to this and I'm going to go have fun. Because somebody said to me lately, you've done all this stuff, what have you done to celebrate? And I was like, I came up blank. So even though I have a lot of spiritual knowledge, I'm still failing in the lesson that is enjoyment. I'm like, okay, I need more fun in my life. Is that going to be art? Is that going to be going for walks? Is that going to be like, where am I going to get some fun? I need a fun injection. Where's the fun? Where's the fun? So that is my next mission. I am definitely looking, although I have multiple missions happening at the same time, but I am definitely looking for enjoyment. We need that. The vibrational frequency goes up, starts down at level 5, which is despondency, which is where I started from on my journey. Total despondency, depression, moving my way up, anxiety, moving my way up, terror, fear, grief, neutrality. So joy is way up there. It's way up there. It's on the way to bliss. Okay, the very tippy top, bliss. That's what I want. That's where I'm aiming, and I ain't stopping until I get there. Right? As a spiritual warrior, I am walking my way out of hell so that I can get to bliss, baby, bliss. And I can settle. I'm going to use my discernment to not settle for anything that's less than bliss. And so my way to bliss, my next town, I'm checking my GPS, is what is the way to town fun? Plot the course. Plot the course. Is it going to a concert? Hells yeah. What else? What else could be fun that I want to try, that I want to do? I'm willing to do it as a spiritual lesson as well. Next up, we have forgiveness. Okay, you see how low down on the list this is? Right? A lot of people in the spiritual community are bashing you over the head with, you need to forgive. You need to forgive. You need to forgive. If you don't forgive, then there's something wrong with you. It's what I have to say to that. Because forgiveness is a natural process of going through all these other things that you've gone through, especially the feelings, right? We had to learn. Our number 2 thing was learn how to have feelings. That means allowing yourself to process through your anger, your grief, your resentment, your bitterness, your jealousy. You're allowed to feel those things. Absolutely. They're a necessary part of the process. Forgiveness is a natural consequence. And when we do the work, when we do the healing work, when we shift ourselves out of, what we end up happening is we go, I don't need this anymore. So we give it to God. God, spirit, divine, whatever you want to call it. You give it to God. It's not about standing up in front of somebody and saying, I forgive you for what you did wrong. That's not forgiveness. In many cases, that's stupidity. Because the last thing you should ever do is put yourself back in harm's way once you've found freedom, once you've escaped. Right? So this is a spiritual happenstance, not a 3D, let's have a conversation. Does that mean that you holding on to anger is sometimes a necessary feeling state to be in so that you can protect yourself, so that you can master your yin yang energy and create a wall, a division, a block, a situation that says you no longer have access to my energy because you are dangerous. You are dangerous physically, you are dangerous emotionally, you are dangerous mentally. If somebody's mentally fucking with you, it is as bad as if they were physically punching you in the face. You are spiritually not in alignment with you. We don't resonate together, so I'm creating a healthy divide. Okay? And any energy that I have that is lingering in me about this situation, I will give to God. I will give it to God. Forgive it to God. Not, I forgive you for abusing me. I don't. I don't give access back. That is a wall that is there, that will permanently be there, that will never be removed. Okay? I have said, God, this is beyond me. I can't handle I'll do my part. My part is processing through the emotions, doing the feeling to healing. I'll do that. And you take care of everything else for me. Okay? You take care of everything else for me. And then you know what's left? It's just neutrality. It's just neutrality. And it's a process and it takes years. And so it's not something, if you are mentally thinking, I'm going to mentally create forgiveness in my life, that's not forgiveness. Okay? That's bypassing. And we don't bypass, we feel. We feel to heal. Number 31. Number 31 is faith. Well, your faith is going to be tested more times than not on this healing awakening path. And sometimes that's all you have, is lying in a ball in recovery position, in fetal position, and just, dear God, please help me. Dear God, please help me. Dear God, please heal me. And the more you cultivate a relationship with the divine, the more your faith builds. And for anyone that's, okay, let's look at the duality that is faith. The opposite end, the polarity, is doubt. So even Jesus doubted. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, I can feel a little better. If Jesus doubted, then I'm allowed to doubt too. And there will be times that we doubt, and it's okay to doubt, because it's the process of going back and forth between faith and doubt and faith and doubt that we get to a place of harmony. Okay, where faith can ground itself into your conscious reality. Now I am living in total faith, and this has taken years. And I'm going to continue to have blind faith that what is meant for me will arrive, that my highest and greatest will arrive. Do I know what that looks like? Do I know who they are? Do I know? No. It's not for me to know. It's above my pay grade. That's where I rest in faith. 32, grace. Oh, grace. Grace. Being in a state of grace is one I hope to get to. Listen, I got a ways to go. We all do. I don't think any of us are walking on water yet or levitating. So we may know moments of grace. We may taste little snippets of it here and there. We may feel it, but it hasn't grounded into our constant reality yet. I think that's something that we are working our ways towards. We are working our ways towards in the age of Aquarius. And then the 33rd on this says the principle of the 33. Now, that has something to do with chiropractic care, but what I think the principle of the 33 is Christ consciousness. That's the way I read this. These are the steps to Christ consciousness, to opening ourselves to enlightenment, to becoming fully awake in this human suit, so that we have the power to alter reality at a level that isn't just our own personal reality. We become a lighthouse. We become a guided action rippling effect out that is divinely orchestrated. We're not acting from ego. That's the whole point of all of these lessons and all these initiations, because look at the world today. The reason why it's so fucked up is because everybody has been living in ego. If we all live from Christ consciousness, it is going to shift our reality, because we will co-create not only myself and the divine, but co-create in partnerships and co-create in communities and co-create. And so it becomes like the flower of life. And we become this powerful collective, no one being more powerful than the other, but in unison becoming a powerhouse that changes and alters humanity. All of humanity, the entire planet, a rippling effect out. When you throw a rock on the water, it ripples out. So imagine loads of ripples just heading out in every single direction, the flower of life multiplying itself, the power of co-creation times co-creation exponentially to the power of the divine. What's it going to look like? It's going to blow our minds, because it's nothing we can't even fathom. It is better than we can possibly imagine. And that is where we are going. Today's video was insanely long. Thank you very much for everybody that sat through all of this and listened to my teachings. If you would like to join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group, please do hop onto the website to register for those. If you would like to book a one-on-one, please register the website. Thank you, and thank you for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the supers, the support, the comments, absolutely everything. I am blown away with the love that I receive. I am so incredibly grateful for that. And I'm sending everybody out there all of my love. Peace in.